morning, good morning, good morning. Well, looks like Twitter is down. Was he gonna post tweets that were live on Twitter? But I guess Discord is gonna have to do. All right. So let's get started here. Gonna wait for 8:35. We do have PPI numbers that are coming out right now. So let's take a look at what's going on with these PPI numbers. I mean, with the numbers that came out yesterday, I don't think the PPI numbers are going to be much of a surprise here, but we'll see how they kind of pan out. Give me 1 second. Let me get to my PPI numbers. All right, so the forecast was 10.7 on the PPI on year over year, and we got a 11.3. All right, so that is in regards to the PPI. Let me see here. Copy. And then we also have jobs report numbers, so let's take a look at that. Jobs report. So the forecast was 1383 and it came in at 1331. So that's a positive there. So not bad. I mean, the market's kind of liking it right now, which is great. Qs and SPYs bouncing. So we'll just get right into it. We're gonna wait till 8:35. Let me get into the chat. Say my good mornings. Don Hoff, good morning, my man. How you doing? Gabrielle Vienna, good morning. Marjan, good morning. Santosh, good morning. Raul, good morning from LA. What's going on? Foolish Snowboarder, good morning. Kaka. Eric, my man, what's going on? Yo, yo, yo. Sky, good morning. Lovely people. Angel, good morning. Nizzle, good morning. Legit Movers Chicago, good morning. All right, Brian Whitman, good morning, peace, love, and blessings, everyone. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Twitter is down. Jamarcus, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, guys, if you guys are here nice and early, go ahead and smash that like button. There's about 30 of you and only 9 likes. That's no bueno. Let's get those likes up. If everybody can just smash that like button, I would greatly appreciate it while we wait for 8:35. Just give everybody a little bit of time to tune in here. Routine is good. So we're going to wait till 8:35 before we get things going. Oscar, what's going on? Good morning, brother. Vic, good morning. Mel's, good morning. How you doing, Mel's? All right, all right, all right. Let's see. So a little bit of a pop here in the market. Like I said, the PPI numbers did come out, but after the CPI, I don't think we're going to get that drastic of a initial reaction like we did with the CPI data. Z, good morning. Ion, good morning. Colton, good morning. We're free from the Twitter sphere today. Edgar, good morning. Z, PPI report and its impact. PPI report just measures the price of wholesale essentially, and it's gone up. So in comparison to what they were forecasting, CPI was the most important data there. So the PPI was forecasted 10.7%. The actual came in at 11.3. For those of you that are wondering what PPI is, it's a producer price index. Measures the change in the price of goods sold by manufacturers. Right, so it is the leading indicator of consumer price inflation. All right. Abdel, good morning. All right, guys, it's 8:34. We're going to get started here shortly. And as usual, we'll start with the SPY and the Qs analysis. We'll jump into some levels that you guys can pay attention to. We'll go over some free alerts, and then we'll jump into some Q&A that you guys may have. Remember, if you guys are asking me a question regarding a certain ticker, tell me if you're looking to day trade it, swing trade it, and whether it's calls or puts. Should we get to the 360 area on SPY today? 360? I mean, it's a few levels to go before you get to 360, but all right, so let's get right into it. So this is the daily chart on the SPY, right? We can see, obviously we've been below the 20 and the 50 moving averages. We've said this multiple times. They pop back up into the moving averages. Then downtrend, it's going to act as resistance. Bam, sell off. Nice little support here at this 372 level, and then pop right back up into that moving average. Failed to get above this prior pivot. You're getting selling pressure from all the overhead resistance, and we roll back over. The key thing that first initiated this, and your trigger to kind of realize what was really happening, was this day on July 11th. This close and this rejection of that 20 moving average set us up nicely for the following day, because we knew, one, we hit a doji at resistance, two, we closed under the 20 moving average. So the third day, the chances of it coming down were actually very high, and it did just that. All right, so now we come into yesterday. We had the CPA data. We knew that the next big support is sitting at 372, and we exactly got a nice yank back down to this area, and we're kind of sitting around, you know, this 370, 350 right now. Okay, so we do have decent support at 372. If we lose that 372 is when the problems really come in. All right, it's double head. It is double head. So let's jump into the 15-minute time frame. Not sure, and we'll talk about some of the levels that we can pay attention to here going into today. All right, so let me pull up my levels. Perfect. Okay, so here we are. We had these levels here yesterday. Take a look at what took place yesterday. All right, we popped up to this 381.70, and we saw that rejection. Okay, now you can see that this was an area of support previously. You can see it was an area of resistance previously, and these two areas confirmed again yesterday as we saw that rejection right here. All right, we failed to get above, and we yanked right back down. Right. Now this 372 area comes from that daily level and that daily pivot sitting right here. This is your key area, that right there. These support areas that are coming in, dip buyers are buying these up. That 372 area is going to be an area that we need to pay attention to. Okay, that's going to be the level I'm really focusing on today. If we're able to hold that level again, great. Then we're going to see moves back to this 376. 378, and possibly we could look to try to retest maybe the 380, 381 area. Why? As you can see on the 15-minute time frame, we have a 200 moving average right above us that could act as resistance, but also the 381 is that key level that we talked about right there that we can see rejection off of. All right, so that's what I'm paying attention to on the upside if we hold 372. If we fail to hold 372, well, let's jump back to the daily again, and I want to show you where we can fall towards, right? We lose this 372 area. We have a nice, you know, area that we can fall into for 368.92, and then this area right here, the 365, where we kept closing above, is going to be another area to pay attention to. So we'll jump back in. Lose the 372, 368.90, and 365 are going to be the next downside areas to pay attention to. All right, so that is the levels you're going to pay attention to. Again, you guys are more than welcome to take a screenshot of this, save this, write these levels down. You know, my SPY and Q levels have been on point for years, and it's just a simple support and resistance, what price action we get throughout the day, and I draw my levels as I continue going upwards or downwards. Wherever the market's going, these levels end up working very well. Next, we're going to jump back onto the daily, and we're going to take a look at the Qs. So let me pull up the Qs. Perfect. All right, so let's take a look at the Qs here again. So the Qs, what can we see? We can see, again, just like the SPY, we have these support areas sitting right here at this 276.80, 276 level, right? So that's going to be the level that we're paying attention to today. A very similar look to the SPY. We have a pop up, reject, pop up. This time we have the 50 moving average acting as resistance and sell off again. In fact, you have a better clear double top presenting itself here with the neckline being that 276 on the Qs, right? What is a double top? A double top is top 1, top 2, and your neckline being right here. So if we draw this out, right, and if we come down, we penetrate this, then that's going to continue us back down toward where? The next area of support, sitting at around 269, 267. Okay, so something to keep at the back of your head and understand what's going to happen. So now let's jump into the 15-minute time frame, put our levels back on, and take a look at what we're paying attention to. All right, hold on one second. Perfect. So there we are. You know, relatively, again, in comparison to the SPY, the Q has done a better job. Why? It did a good job retracing yesterday. Some of the tech names did a lot better, but the 276 is all the way down here. We're not really there yet. Okay, so we can't really just start getting bearish all the way up here. And we've seen some relative strength in a few tech names yesterday, like I said. So this 282 is going to be that level I'm paying attention to today. Okay, 282 is that level I'm focusing on. If we maintain this level, and if the SPY continues to maintain that 373, then we can look for pushes into the 284.98, and then you're going to see some resistance at this area right here, this 288, 289 area. Okay, that's the level that you're going to have to pay attention to today. If we hold this 282, 285 will be the next area. You can see it was resistance, or it was support here, which is going to be resistance again, and then our next area of resistance will continue to be resistance today. All right, now if we lose 282, right, where are we going to fall towards? Well, we have some price action yesterday that held us up right here, right, this 280.36. That's going to be a next area of support. If we roll right under that 282 level, we're going to see 280.36. Under that, we got room to retest that big 276.41 number, which will bring us right to the neckline on the Qs, and is going to be another vital area that we're going to have to pay attention to. All right, so a few things to pay attention to that are really important. One, this 282 level, and if we do sell this 280 level. All right, because if we lose these two, then we open up for pulls down to the 276, which will create selling pressure on the downside. All right, so I'm not sure what happened to my tweets, but the free alerts are on Twitter, and I don't have them anymore on me, but I'm trying to find them, but unfortunately Twitter broke. Usually I save them, but I don't have them here. So let me jump into, let me see if I can remember what they were. Yeah, I think Roblox was one. Okay, so we'll talk about Roblox. I don't have the tweet out, but Roblox was one of them. And the idea on Roblox is the 3740, 3745 level is going to be the level that you want to pay attention to on the upside. Okay. If we do break that, you can see there's a nice resistance right here. If we do break that, we could look to try to retest this old resistance area at 39 level. All right. Now, if we do lose this support right here of 36, then you're going to look for downside move into this 34 level. Okay. So the trigger on Roblox will be 3740 to the upside, 36 to the downside. Those are the two levels you need to pay attention to. You can see that it is pretty much in a nice little box right here. Above and below those levels, you should see the push into the next resistance or next support, depending on which way it goes. All right. After that, I think, let's see, AFRM was another one. I think AFRM is the other one. So AFRM, paying attention to this 21 level. Above 21, we're going to see that upside move. You have a nice little intraday pocket that can fill towards this 22.30 level. And then if you lose the support right here at that 20.1 area, 20.1 area, then you can see that downside move to the downside. Okay, just little support areas that we're paying attention to. If they break, you should see the upside move as well. If they break the 20.2, 20.1 area, you could see the downside move. The third one I'm not really sure of, but let's throw another one on the list so you guys that are here, once Twitter starts working, you will see those free alerts pop up. But in the meantime, let's talk about one more. We'll talk about QCOM. This is not on the free alerts, but I can't remember the third one, so I'm talking about QCOM here. QCOM, you can see 136.52 is a solid area of resistance right here. Bam, 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 bam. Really rejecting that 36.50 area, 136.50 area. So I'm going to pay attention to it. See if we can creep back up again, preferably early on. If we can get up here early on and consolidate and flag, I want to take that trigger right there and take advantage of this. There's no real resistance until 141 level here on QCOM. And if we take a look at the daily, on QCOM, take a look at what's going on here. You have a bullish engulfing candle. It's coming right into that resistance of 136.50, which was resistance here, which was resistance here, and also multiple times yesterday's price action. All right, from that level, you can see we have a nice little pocket that we can get into. This is not so much an area of resistance, but more so an area of congestion or volume profile that could act as selling pressure. That's why that's the first area in there. So this is a little pocket that we can get involved in. If we penetrate that, we should see a nice move into that area before seeing some selling pressure. All right. So with that said, again, like I said, I have no idea what's going on with Twitter. So if you guys are interested to see the free alerts, just hop back onto Twitter when it starts working. They will be there. I think we talked about 2 of them here. But now, if you have any questions in regards to some of the tickers you want me to take a look at, whether it's for day trading or swing trading, please let me know. I'll go over them here with you guys, and we'll talk about some of the tickers that you guys are paying attention to and what you think of them, and whether you want to day trade them or whatnot. Simon, good morning from Toronto. CK, good morning from Istanbul. Do you consider resistance if a candle gaps down from that area? Yeah, so I think I understand your question. So let's say this is, do you consider resistance if a candle gaps down from that area? Wait, so if you're saying if this is support and the candle gaps down here, do we consider that as resistance? Yes, because we can very easily come back up, retest that resistance, and then roll back over. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but yes, I always consider them. Regardless whether it's gap down, it's always considered. Dell was the last one. Oh, Dell was the last one. All right, Dell was the last one. Good idea. Good thinking there. All right, so let's jump into Dell since we have Dell here as well. Somebody mentioned Dell, so we're gonna jump into Dell. All right, Dell over the 43.70. We're looking for I'm looking for the upside move, and I believe it was over the 42.30 level. Looking for the downside move. Why? This is simple. The daily chart looks really good here. Nice consolidation. If we get above that level on the 43.70, we should see that upside move at least to the 44.50. But if we break this 42.20, 42 support level, obviously to the downside. Okay, so 2 levels to kind of pay attention to: this 43.70 level and 42. If that breaks to the upside, we're going to get that upside move, and obviously 42.20 to the downside, we'll get that downside selling pressure. NVIDIA day trade call above 153. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Calls above 153. So this is 153. All right, that's 153, Simon. Oh, you said 153.76. 153.76. Yeah, that's better. I was gonna say I would probably put it up here. Yeah, I mean you have good resistance here yesterday as well. If you can clear that 153.76, you should get a pop to 155. Let's take a look at the daily. So yeah, with decent support 155, but above that it could very easily retest 158. Okay, so Nvidia and AMD were relatively strong yesterday, okay, in comparison to the overall market. So if we're looking for that continuation here, I would like to see it hit 153.75 for calls, but you have to pay attention to where the stock is, where it's going to go, and how extended that move is before you get involved. Okay, so the stock is sitting at 151. If it shoots up to 153.74, you don't want to take calls up here. It's already made a significant move to the upside. You have to wait for either a pull, consolidation right here before you get involved, or you have to wait for a push and then some sort of a pullback into at least the pre-market levels here before you take it to the upside again. All right, so don't chase it blindly. From 151 to 154 is going to be an extended move on this name. You don't want to buy calls right up here, get stuffed with yesterday's resistance, and then roll back over. All right, so yeah, I like the idea, but you need to push up, consolidate, push up, pull back, and then get entries for continuation to the upside. Twitter for puts today. Santosh Kumar wants to buy puts on Twitter. Let's take a look. So Twitter, very strong day yesterday considering what happened with the market. This gap is fully filled now to the upside, coming into a little bit of resistance area. You can see this 36.90 is a resistance area. You can point it out right here. Bam, 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 bam. Before it broke, sending it all the way down to here, and now we're popping back and retesting that level. All right, so let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. Perfect, we're retesting that level. All right, so for this, if you want to buy puts on this one, you really have to clear 36.35 to the downside. Once you lose that, you could look to fall back down to the 35.45. Obviously a day trade only, I wouldn't marry it, and that's simply just because you have that resistance on the daily that was rejected multiple times, but you need to break down under 36.30. Okay, otherwise you don't want to start getting involved in this. It's had a strong move considering the market was fairly weak and the gap down yesterday. One of the other names that outperformed the market yesterday was Twitter, so you have to be cautious on this one as well. Okay, when the market yanks and you have a relative strength name, you want to be cautious buying puts the next day unless levels break. So 36.37 would be that level. Guys, if you guys are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. There's about 50 of you and only 25 likes. You guys are forgetting to smash that like button. AAL 126 put, break of 126.70. Let's take a look at AAL. AAL? Oh, sorry, ALL. 126 put. Let's take a look at the daily on this one. So it's gone from 133 down here, inverse hammer. Selling is increasing a little bit. You have decent support at 125, which is going to be your 200 moving average, as well as this wick right here. All right, now let's take a look at the 50-minute. At the break of 126.70. Yeah, so the way to trade this prior candle is to take the break of the prior low, right? And the prior low, you're right, is 126.70. Now, you got to ask yourself, if you take this, depending on, there's no price action here in the pre-market, so depending on where this opens, 126.70 snaps, you could get that pull into the 200 moving average, which in a sense will give you about 1.2% essentially on the underlying, and the options could give you at least 30% there, 30-40%. So pay attention to it. I mean, it does have room to come down at least to that 200 moving average, which is 125.19. I don't mind it, 126.70 for puts, depending on where this opens. If this opens at, you know, closer to the support level, then I wouldn't do it. But if it's opening up pretty flat, you could take the 126.70 trigger to the downside. Ricardo, Oxy looks interesting after Berkshire buys. Well, let me tell you something. Berkshire has been buying from all the way up here. Just because Berkshire buys doesn't mean, you know, it's time for us to buy. Everyone has a different investing strategy. Obviously, he's somebody who likes to cost average down and hold very long term, and he understands that oil is going to be something that's going to become more expensive over the years to come. We're not talking months to come, we're talking about years to come. So, you know, as he's averaging down and buying more and more and more, doesn't mean for day trading it's a very positive thing, okay? So you're thinking of, it doesn't really say what you're thinking to do with it, but Oxy I probably would stay away from. I'm not really, I don't see much of a pattern going on here. I don't really see, it's stuck in this little chop fest right now. I'm not interested in it really. Maybe if it gets back above 60, we can try to get involved in some calls, but it won't happen today. From 60 to 62.50 is an area of a nice little pocket we can take advantage of. Other than that, I'm not really interested in getting involved in Oxy. Lots of up and down price action. Netflix 200 calls. Let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix getting some support again at this 170 level and bouncing up nicely. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. 200 calls. So I'm wondering why you would say 200 calls. It's very out of the money. 200 calls are like 7 cents, and there's about 12,000 open interest on them. To me, the 200 number is too far out. And for calls, you know, we had that nice surge on news yesterday, and it's gave it all back here in the pre-market with the market kind of gapping down. I would like to see this kind of consolidate and flag under 176, and then look for bullish patterns to get involved. As far as triggers go, there's really not much trigger. You can see there's lots of congestion in the price action from the last few days. But if we can get back above this little support that it has here at 176, consolidate, flag, falling wedge, whatever the case may be, right above, we have to push and start getting bullish before we get involved in some calls. Otherwise, just wait. Don't try to chase this news. It's not really something that you should do. But if it does, if you get that push, that strong push out of the gates, consolidate, flag, then get involved on the call side. It does have room to retest that 178, but you need a bullish pattern to get involved. Amazon calls. Amazon calls, again, very similar to Netflix. Lots of overhead resistance, 20, 50, everything is there. If you're trading Amazon calls, you really have to be aware of what's going on in the queues. If the queues decide to push, then great. You know, otherwise, not really. I wouldn't really want to get involved in Amazon calls unless it gets back above like 111.80. Otherwise, you can see right here you have resistance at the 200 moving average. You have this congestion area right here that's going to act as resistance. You have yesterday's resistance that's going to act as resistance. You also have, you know, the prior day's price action again at this 111 area that's going to act as resistance. So the clear move would be to wait for the 111.80 and then see if we can kind of penetrate higher. Otherwise, yeah, this could push up to the 111 area, but it's not a quality setup for me to just buy calls just because there's really no pattern here, and I don't really see much of a trigger with room to kind of get above. Chewy Flow was really bearish. Chewy Flow. Well, it's gone from 21 all the way up to 45, and it's coming into a lot of rejection area. You're starting to see those topping wicks, and you have a 200 moving average above you. Depending on how bearish those flows were, what expiries they chose, this is a simple bet against resistance and a 200 moving average. An extended move from 22 to 45. This is over 100% move here in the last 30 days, 40 days. So this is just a simple exhaustion bet coming into resistance. They're expecting some sort of a pullback to take place. That's all that is, and I think that's why you're seeing that bearish sentiment. The first test of the 200 moving average after significant drop always tends to be a strong one. You You can see here on BABA it happened again, hit this area, 2 inverted hammers, and then we kind of yanked back down. So they're just simply basing, I think, coming in with a good risk to reward on the put side here, buying puts. Cost per day trade falling wedge possibly. Cost falling wedge. I'm not sure what time frame you're seeing that falling wedge. Don't really see a falling wedge here. 15-minute time frame, not really seeing much here. For me, cost needs to get above 500. That 500 number is a big area of resistance. Above that, we could look to push to 505 again. Otherwise, I wouldn't really get involved. 500 is going to be a big psychological number. All right, guys. It is 9 a.m. Thank you guys all for tuning in. If you guys are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. Remember, every Thursday I do go live right here on YouTube. We try to give you guys some analysis on the market, some free alerts, go over some of the tickers you guys want me to take a look at. If I did miss your question today, don't worry. Shoot me a message on Discord or Twitter once Twitter gets back up, and then I'll get your questions answered. I'm always available to help you guys. And yeah, man, so remember, next Thursday right here, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Thank you guys all for tuning in every Thursday and supporting me. Appreciate every single one of you guys.